Hello and welcome to the Just Interesting Podcast 2025 edition. And welcome everybody. And thank you for joining us live, broadcast live on YouTube. For those of you listening to us on the audio platform of your choice at a later date, you can listen to us live on the YouTubes. This is possibly now our best annual tradition, which is to start the year every year with looking at psychic predictions. Psychic predictions from not only some old favourites, but sometimes some new not-so-favourites as well. And today, I, Robin, am joined by none other than Alex.
Hey, Robin. Yeah, not too bad, thank you. And don't forget Martin as well. Martin's here joining us.
Martin is here. He is. Yeah.
Looking very dapper, if I may say.
I know. It's shockingly dapper.
Martin, you've been working a lot on your beard. That's great, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but is your mic not working, Martin? I think your camera's frozen too.
Oh, his camera's always frozen, but normally he's
true.
fine. Oh, is his microphone not working?
No, I can't hear anything he says.
This is really translating very well for the audio listeners.
So good for the audio listeners. Just so you know, everyone at home, we won't pretend anymore. There's a picture of Daniel Radcliffe on screen where Martin would normally be, because Martin is away, I think, doubling for Daniel again in another one of his projects. Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, that is a picture of Martin though on a private jet, isn't it? When he's going.
Oh yes.
Doubling.
Sorry.
For
yeah. He looks so much like Daniel Radcliffe. I thought that was a picture.
That's not Harry Potter. That is Martin.
That is Martin.
Yeah.
To be fair, actually, I think they do look quite a bit like each other in that one. The hair colours.
The beard is actually
the beard's quite
does
close,
look a lot.
Yeah. And the fringe isn't far off either.
His kind of expression, is very Martin.
Yeah, surprising.
I see it.
Well, Mr. Alex, regale me with how you are at the beginning of this brand new year of our Lord, 2025.
I'm very good, Robin. I've been, sticking to my, oh my God, what are they called? New Year's resolutions.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've been sticking to them. I've been healthy, logging calories for the first few days. It's been great, I feel like a new man already. And I'm sure that that's going to stay true for the rest of the year, because New Year's resolutions, they always stick, don't they? But I'm interested in hearing what people in the comments, how everyone's Christmases and their New Year's have been, and what were your New Year's resolutions, and how have you been sticking to them so far? Also, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who's tuned in on this impromptu podcast. But yeah, we've got several people in the chat. Only Kidding Movie says, this is my favorite traditional video you guys do. James Linton 95 says, found my Monday night plans. And Thomas McNostril, ahoy mateys.
Hey.
And Sam Wong's in the chat. T Kane, thank you everyone so much. It's really great to see everyone in the chat in 2025. And Robin, I just want to say that this year is a very special year. In fact, tomorrow, I think from tomorrow is a very special day for us, because it's 5 years of Just Interesting. Years. Can you believe it?
I honestly didn't think we'd make it to the 5th anniversary. I genuinely...
Will we make it to the 6th?
That's a good question.
Place your predictions now.
I mean, a pertinent question to ask in this podcast of all episodes. This is the one where that question is worth asking. Will we make it to our 6th anniversary? T. Kane says, congratulations. Oh, thank you. And Jonah Isaac says, wow, it's been that long already. Yeah, I'm glad the time has flown for you too. I will confess that I kind of thought we might make episode 200 by our 5th anniversary, but we'll get there eventually. This is the grand 160th episode.
Well, I was looking at last year's episode, and I was thinking, oh, what's that? 120, 130? Nope, it was 143.
Wow, that's
we really need to step it up.
That was, yeah. To be fair, we've had some life disruptions of a positive kind in the past year to keep us busy.
Yeah.
So that's the excuse. But hopefully we'll get back on track and be bringing you these things more often. And hopefully you'll continue to enjoy them. But, okay, let's dive into it. First, because we now have enough experience talking about these psychic predictions, Alex, what are our predictions for 2025? What's yours? Tell me.
I mean, okay, so I've made some notes on this. my prediction for 2025, and I've just written the word bad.
I mean,
It's I can't. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen this year. It doesn't seem like any much good is going to happen. I mean, the one optimistic thing I've seen floating around, and just the kind of general atmosphere, is I feel like Ukraine, that situation in Ukraine might come to a standstill this year. I don't want to say peace, and even if it is a peace, I don't even know if that's one that, you know, it might be a reluctant one on Ukraine's side, but I can see that kind of coming to an end this year, an end or a new equilibrium. That's my kind of bold prediction for 2025. My kind of hopeful one as well. Just right.
Thank you for thinking of something positive, even if I suspect.
I mean, it might not be like a good outcome.
Yeah. I don't think
I'm not predicting it.
Yeah.
No.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's one of the things, not to get political too early in the podcast, but it's one of those things where the election of a certain person to the president of the United States does make peace in Ukraine a bit more likely.
Who could you be talking about?
Who am I talking about? But ironically, it does make peace in Ukraine seem more likely because of that election victory. But it's the wrong kind of peace that everyone was really hoping for. But my prediction...
Art of the deal, Robin. Art of the deal. He's going to get it sorted day one.
Yeah, because Afghanistan turned out so well. Well, let's try to... I'm trying to be optimistic, Alex, but I can't think of anything optimistic. I will, however, chime in with the classic one that seems to be on the lips of all psychic predictors of recent years, which is, I foretell climate catastrophe and a technological revolution. And maybe...
Have you been stealing my notes for this episode?
What?
Because that's
oh, no.
word for word what Nostradamus has been spouting.
Well, there you go. I'm at one with Nostradamus, just totally in tune with the man himself. Okay, then. Well, let's cut to the chase and review last year's predictions. Of how accurate were they? Did they come true? Any of them? But having just said let's cut to the chase, before that, I'd just like to say a quick thank you to everybody, not only for listening, for tuning in, but also for supporting us on YouTube memberships and Patreon. You are wonderful people, and thank you so much for sticking with us for 5 years now. You people really do make it worthwhile. All of you do, obviously, all of you listeners, everyone who downloads us, gives us a click, gives us a like, gives us a share, makes everything we do completely, utterly rewarding. But I can't describe how overwhelming it is to be supported by people through YouTube memberships and Patreon. So thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd just like to second that. That's, incredibly, incredibly grateful. We're incredibly grateful for everyone, not only for watching and supporting us through memberships, but all of our Patreon supporters. It's really humbling that you guys have been supporting us for so long, for so many years.
Yeah, humbling.
And with that in mind, so I say an extra special thank you to our Patreon supporters. So I would like to say an extra special thank you to Scott Joel, Amy Licious, Cindy Hafner, Rashad Najar, Caleb Wilkerson, Kurt Jones, John Baker, Janie, Henny Ruffle, Nicholas Dill, Emmett Tapia, Ahmad, Peaswad, Josh Chomatek, A Filthy Casual, and Simon Workman. I've got those names memorized so well. I think I don't even need to look at the list anymore. They just roll off the tongue now. I can just say them. And it just goes to show like how amazing all of you are that you've been supporting us for so long. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So, a quick review of 2024 predictions. Let's start with Baba Vanga, the classic Bulgarian mystic who died in 1996 and was blind but could see the future. Was it a supernatural gift given to compensate for her physical detriments? Who knows?
Or was it the bullshit?
You're so skeptical, Alex. So
skeptical. I wasn't saying no. Oh God, no. I don't think that.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So I won't read what the predictions were word for word. I'll just give the gist of the key ones that we were mentioned. So, one thing that Baba Vanga predicted for 2024 was a quantum revolution in technology, or
Did she?
technological revolution in quantum technology. She said
Did
those words.
show me the writing. Show me where she said
She
that.
said it. And I think we all poo-pooed it at the time and thought, yeah, right, of course you did. But actually, there was a quiet revolution of the quantum scale in computing last year. And basically, some scientists proved that it might be possible to develop vacuum-sealed fiber optic, I think, cables to transmit quantum data, or data between quantum computers, that is, without data loss. Because one of the problems with quantum computing is that when you transmit quantum particles, there's so much kind of stuff in the air.
Interfering with it, kind of
Yeah,
thing?
it kind of, and a lot of the information just gets lost to other atoms, attracting the electrons that make up the quantum data signal, because it's so tiny. So I said electrons, but I may be incorrect in identifying electrons. Maybe it's another part of the particle. Sorry for everyone who actually knows this stuff.
I was going to say we shouldn't try and go too in depth in quantum computing.
We're not the people to explain this.
I think we will be quickly sniffed out as frauds, as fakes and phonies in that space.
But a team of scientists, in fact, two teams of scientists separately came up with some new methods of transmitting quantum data, and one of them came up with a principle for a new type of cable that could, in theory, improve the quantity of quantum data transmitted by an order of magnitude of 4. So 4 times more quantum data could be, huge leap in quantum terms. So that's a big one. And then there was another leap in quantum computing in terms of security. Again, I don't fully understand this myself, but there was a leap in allowing traditional computers to read and communicate with quantum computers, because at the moment, quantum computers, one of their big selling points is their level of security, because they're protected by mathematical codes that only not even quantum computers can crack the codes. So the only way to access a quantum computer is by having the code key. But then there's a problem there of regular computers, which are nowhere near as powerful as quantum computers, being able to talk to quantum computers, because it's kind of like a caveman talking to a modern human. It just doesn't really work. But they've made a huge leap in that area as well. And apparently they can now talk to each other, which is cool. That means I might be able to email Elon Musk with his quantum computer from across the globe, because he'll be contacting us directly very soon, I believe. Anyway, that was a technological...
Contacting us?
Yes. To be the new leaders of Reform UK, Alex.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That was a niche reference. Anyone who's not interested in UK politics and Elon Musk. That's the problem with doing this live. I just say crap. Anyway,
we normally can cut out all the political references, or not all of them. We can't get them all, Robin. That's just not possible.
You can't stop me.
But we can't stop you when you're live. That was a weird story, though. That was just bizarre.
So random.
I mean, it was almost like Godzilla fighting Mothra, though. It was almost just like, let them fight. I don't care.
I know. The best bit was the day before, like literally the day before, Nigel Farage had like called Elon Musk a hero and was like, "Isn't he amazing?" And it's like Elon Musk was bitch slapping him down. Anyway, another prediction that Baba Vanga made was that there would be economic disaster or economic collapse, perhaps. And
I think quite a few of them predicted this last year. And it didn't. But it's kind of this ongoing economic woes, like everyone's feeling the pinch and everyone's kind of feeling it. But you can't really say that's a prediction that came true when it's just kind of ongoing and everyone's feeling it, Yeah. I'm gonna poo-poo that one and say no.
No, I don't think she got that right either. But one interesting thing that did happen was that in terms of the economies of individual countries in the Eurozone, that's in Europe, there was a bit of a flip, where the previously the most powerful economies, the ones that led the way, like France and Germany, who are were basically responsible for supporting a lot of the weaker economies like Greece. If anyone remembers how close Greece came to collapse. And I
Yeah.
think for most people like me, that was when we discovered that Greece doesn't like to pay taxes. And it was like, you what? Anyway, things have flipped. And now those bigger economies that have been traditionally dominating the EU and supporting the smaller economies are now quite, looking a bit weak. And those smaller economies are growing strength to strength. So there was a bit of a flip, and there may be a dynamic shift in the power relationships. As The Rock might put it, the hierarchy of power in the Eurozone is about to change. Again, niche reference to anybody who...
We don't need Nostradamus or Baba Vanga. We just need Dwayne The Rock Johnson to make his predictions. Yeah,
we do indeed.
We should just do predictions based on have a roulette board of random lines from the Rock movies, and just that's how I'm gonna predict the future from now on. Just let Dwayne The Rock Johnson do the talking. Yeah. So economic collapse.
Economic collapse, yes,
didn't happen.
And then she also predicted, on the economic collapse thing, JP Morgan predicted last summer that there was a 35% chance of a global recession last year. Didn't happen, which means there's a 45% chance of it happening this year. Just so everyone feels...
I'll take those odds.
But if I were a millionaire, I could bet against the market or whatever they're supposed to do and then become rich. But yeah. Anyway, other things she predicted was a medical breakthrough, particularly, I think the words were, cancer would be shackled.
Yes, I remember that. I remember those words.
There were some progresses in diagnoses of cancer, as in early recognition of cancer. That was there was a big improvement there. But apart from that, I don't think there's any major cancer treatment kind of breakthroughs.
No, I feel like I don't think anyone would go ahead and say that cancer has well and truly been shackled. I think it still exists and sadly still kills people every year.
Very sad.
So, yeah.
Well, let's cheer ourselves up by just quickly checking in with the chat. Hello, everyone. Thank you for keeping commenting. We've got some new people who chimed in. Spiffing says, bring on Baba Vanga's nonsense. My gosh, Spiffing. How dare you? How dare you disrespect the lady? Adachi4 says, wow, I've never caught you live. I'm currently listening through all of you guys' videos. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Currently on the 2024 predictions. Nice. Well, sorry to spoil that video for you. We're talking about it now.
Well, actually, Robin, one prediction that you didn't mention, which it's all right. You jumped to Baba Vanga, you jumped to them. But what about my prediction, Robin? I tried to do this Nostradamus-esque prediction of vagary.
Or was it there'll be green, the rivers flow green?
The rivers will run green with the waters of life.
That was it.
And a flightless bird shall fly once more.
Did that happen? Did that come to pass?
It doesn't ring any bells. I mean, well, that's the thing. That's the thing, Robin.
Mm-hmm.
It's open to interpretation.
Of course.
So it's not for me to interpret, but it's for everyone else to interpret. So did it happen? Absolutely. Do I need to explain it? Absolutely not.
That's exactly how it should work.
I
mean, to be fair, the St. Patrick's Day parade, is it Chicago? They dye the river green. So that could have come to pass.
That's true. Did that happen this year? Because if so, I'm golden.
Well, maybe. Good question.
Chicago.
That'd be funny if the one year they didn't do it was the year you predicted the waters would run green.
Yeah. Seems like it did happen, yeah.
Good. Okay, so you weren't entirely...
Yeah.
You can say that was the correct prediction.
It happened.
It happened, 100%. Just going back to the comments for a moment, we've got Lashane from Hawaii. Well, hey. Or aloha, I should say. Thank you for joining us. And Thomas McNostril says, I have experienced economic collapse after Xmas. And James Linton 95 chimes in and says, I'm in a continuous state of economic collapse. Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Yeah.
So back to last year's predictions. On to Nostradamus. So it'll be interesting to know if his predictions this year compared to last year's. Um, he actually predicted, I think, a widespread famine or a major famine, didn't he,
Yeah, yeah,
for
he did.
2024? And there was famine in Haiti as the crisis there got really bad.
Would we describe that as like famine though? Because I mean, when you think of, I mean, yeah, like
Mm,
of course people were, yeah, I mean, there was famine,
mm.
but it was kind of the cause of it was other things,
Yeah,
if that makes
a
sense. Like it
crisis that
wasn't like,
started in 2018 led to a lack of food security, which, yeah.
yeah, a lack of food security doesn't, is that literally the definition of famine? I
Uh,
kind of view it as like
yeah.
problems with agriculture and stuff like that.
No, yeah, I'd say I subscribe to the traditional interpretation of a famine being, oh, the crops failed this year and we can't sustain
Yeah,
ourselves, as opposed to our economy.
gangs have taken over
Yeah,
and
is yeah, things are such a mess that we can't get hold of food. And even then, obviously not to dismiss what's happening in Haiti. Um, is that really what Nostradamus was trying to talk about? You know, when he talks about there'll be a massive famine, it's like Haiti.
are
Mm,
you saying that one of the great publications that are continuously pumping out Nostradamus, like and interpreting the works of Nostradamus and these other fantastic
mm,
psychics and mystics, are you saying that they are not getting it right, Robin,
I'm,
or that
I'm
they're misleading
I'm
people?
saying that maybe Nostradamus has been misinterpreted for 2024 on this particular
Okay,
issue.
oh,
That's all.
okay, well,
That's all.
well, you've got to take that up with the Sunday Express or
Oh my gosh.
the Metro or the
They'll
Sun.
be
I
coming
don't
for me next. Well,
know.
he also predicted, and this is actually interesting because this is so specific. Nostradamus's predictions. Uh, well, you can elaborate on these, Alex, but he
Okay.
predicted that there'll be a new pope and that the King of the Isles, whoever that may be, would be forced to step down, I think, and be replaced by someone who wasn't of royal blood. Is that the gist of that prediction, I think?
I believe so. Yeah, that
Mm.
sounds right to me.
So
So,
that one's interesting because there were a couple of abdications last year.
okay, yeah. Were
Denmark
there?
and Luxembourg's monarchs both abdicated, but they were replaced by their children.
Also, King of the Isles.
Yeah.
Does that work with Luxembourg?
No. Famously landlocked country. Um, but now this is a big but.
Okay, and I cannot lie.
Nice one. Syria, Assad, deposed all of a sudden, unexpectedly, right before the end of the year, and
Yeah.
replaced by a new regime of people who were just rebel leaders and actually designated as terrorists, still, some of them,
Yeah.
by Western powers. Now, if that's not the the existing ruler being replaced by somebody who's not of the royal line, I don't know what is.
Or even just thinking thinking more abstract. It doesn't
Mm,
have to be king. It doesn't have to be a ruler, like in that sense. It could just be literally a leader of the country. And the fact that there was a lot of important elections that happened last year and a
that's
lot
true.
of like turmoil
That's
and
true.
turnover. We obviously changed prime minister. The US
Yeah.
had an election and changed their
France had several
president.
elections.
France had several elections. Um, so maybe it could just be, yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, big thumbs up, Nostradamus,
Yeah.
for that one.
Yeah.
But I was
Keeping it
waiting
going.
for Syria to come up because, yeah, that's got like that. I think that's probably one of the key
Yeah.
key
Major events of
events of
last year.
2024.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. That
yeah,
and the release of Sonic the Hedgehog 3,
yeah,
which happened with
yeah.
pretty close together, I think. But, you know,
Mm.
maybe they're
Well, maybe
related.
that. Well, in fairness, maybe that was. You could view that as in another way. A ruler steps down and is replaced. Maybe it's Disney's The Lion King Mufasa is the ruler that got replaced because Sonic the Hedgehog 3 got a better IMDb rating.
And opened #1 at the box office with Lion King
And
number
number
2.
one at the box office, yeah.
Oh, man.
So
I think you're onto
Disney's no
something.
longer number one.
I think you're onto something.
There you go.
There you go.
There's any way to read that. So I'm going to say that's a big win
I think it's a big win for
for
Nostradamus.
Nostradamus.
Another possible big win.
I wish this could this just be my job? Because I'd love this, like just
think
this
it
on
could.
its own.
You could be like Mystic Meg. Did anyone from Britain remember Mystic Meg? That could be your job, Alex.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be so good.
But just to say one more thing that actually, and genuinely, I'm going to call this a win for Nostradamus. I'm being sincere here. You also read out a prediction for the 2024 predictions episode that Nostradamus forecast great floods, and pretty much the entirety of Europe was hit by bad floods last year after a really short, sharp series of storms hit the continent. And we had, people died. Hundreds of people died.
Yeah.
In Bosnia, Herzegovina, Poland, Germany, Romania, Spain, Austria, France, the Czech Republic, Italy, Switzerland, Montenegro, Belgium, Britain, Ireland, Portugal, and Slovakia, where people died from the floods. And that's not to mention all the countries where just part of the, I think, 14 billion euros worth of damage took place. So and given Nostradamus, I imagine when he was writing back in the 16th century, he was probably only really thinking about Europe when he made a lot of these forecasts. He didn't really, I suspect, obviously I may be wrong, he may have been very forward thinking and was very concerned about the future of Africa and South America, but I suspect he only really cared about Europe. So I'm going to chalk that up as a big win for him.
Yeah. He's not a miracle worker. He can't see what's happening on the other side, on the other continents. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's thinking about Europe, and absolutely massive win. You can't really say that one didn't happen.
Can't take that away from
him. You can't take that one away from Nostradamus.
Oh, dear.
Oh.
So, are you ready to talk about the 2025 predictions?
They're pretty bleak from what I've seen. But yes, no, I'm very excited. I'm ready.
Psychic predictions for 2025. Alex, take us away with, I'm going to assume, our old buddy?
Nostradamus?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's start with him. Screw the rest, get the best. Let's talk about Nostradamus.
I mean, do we have anyone else? Do you have someone else to talk about?
Oh yeah, so I mean, with like in our traditional way, we talk about Nostradamus. We mentioned Baba Vanga, but then we talk about like some of the more modern mystics and psychics. So I've got a couple of like, Craig from Essex or whatever, who's the new Nostradamus.
Yeah. Let's lead with that then. Yeah, because I assumed because we were a man down that we would just stick to Nostradamus and Baba Vanga. But if you've got some other stuff, then please do bring out the potential Nostradamus of the future.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let me introduce to you Craig Hamilton Parker. He's a psychic that has predicted a royal couple will divorce this year, and Sir Keir Starmer will be ousted from government in 2025. He's British, in case that wasn't clear. He's a British-centric mystic, just leading with that. Who seems to get a lot of his opinions from right-wing media, but I don't know. But he's previously made some correct predictions, so don't write him off too soon. He predicted the COVID-19 pandemic. He predicted Brexit. He predicted the Donald Trump assassination attempt and the death of Queen Elizabeth II. Yes, you heard me correctly. Wow. He predicted that a 96-year-old woman was about to die. So,
I mean, if you predict it every year, then you only have to be.
He's got some chops on him. This guy.
Wow. Yeah.
The 70-year-old has been practicing the psychic arts since his early 20s after being inspired by astrologists during a visit to India. And he's outlined his predictions saying, it's going to be a bumpy political year in the UK. I've had this vision recently, seeing Keir Starmer being ousted from government. He thinks Yvette Cooper will then step in as caretaker prime minister for a while. Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, is she at the moment?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
But she's
It's
not the
going to be
deputy
an
prime
even.
minister, so that doesn't make. Never mind.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
This is
fine.
just what's going to happen,
Okay,
Robin.
sure.
It's going to be an even worse year for the Tories as well. And we will see major defections to reform from big names like Boris Johnson and Jacob Rees-Mogg, who are unhappy with Kemi Badenoch.
But they're not even Tories.
This is
They're not in government anymore. They're not. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, defecting to what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So he also predicts one major prediction. Harry and Meghan of the royal family, RIP to their relationship.
No
They're going to get
way.
divorced.
No.
Yeah, apparently. He said, there's been some talk about this recently already, I know, but I first predicted this when they first got together. It doesn't count then, does it?
Yeah,
if you predicted it then.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened since then. So like he's literally saying he said this every single year.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
like
fine.
a new couple gets together, like they won't last. You've got 50-50 chance. Really.
How many years do you get before that prediction no longer counts? Like if they get divorced in 20 years, does that still count?
Yeah.
He says Harry will leave the US and return to the UK, but will have more of an under the radar kind of role. Charles will welcome him back with open arms and forgive him. With William, it'll take a little bit more time.
I mean, that's not an unreasonable thing to predict, but it's also, again, kind of, is it just an educated guess or is it an actual psychic prediction?
Well, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's what interests me with a lot of the kind of more modern ones are always way more specific than Nostradamus and Baba Vanga, and the turnover with them always happens every single year. There's always a new one because half of their predictions didn't come true, but like a lot of them are just kind of educated guesses. So yeah, but I mean I don't know. That seems like a very kind of GB News talking point. For people who don't know, that's like a kind of, this guy's basically saying what Fox News says in America, about, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
He's just spouting kind of what that kind of news angle says about, Yeah,
in a way, by the mere fact of talking about them suggests he has a certain media influence.
Exactly,
on him.
Yeah.
Any
But
others?
he goes on about the royal family saying, it's looking good for Charles this year, but Camilla is going to face some health problems,
Oh,
sadly. Yeah. And he also said Prince Andrew could end up being alienated further from the rest of the royal family. I mean, that's not a prediction. That's just...
if anything.
Didn't he also just got caught up in that kind of Chinese spying ring or whatever it was.
I was going to say, if anything, the boldness of that prediction comes from the fact that he could be alienated even further. It's like, how much further?
How?
How could it get worse?
He goes on, Robin.
Yeah.
There is going to be another Trump assassination attempt. I've got a vision of Trump stepping out of a car and being shot at. Again, he will survive this, and in turn, it will make a lot of Americans feel like they have a strong president.
Well,
and then he says...
Yeah, that's not a prediction. That's just a logical thing to say when an assassination attempt happens. Some people
based on
will
what has already happened.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
Well, he says, the problem I see, though, is Trump and Elon Musk's relationship deteriorating fast. I'm seeing
when did he make
lots
this
of protests. Oh, I actually, when did he make this prediction? This was, 1st of January, so yeah.
Okay, it was already going
that's
south
not
by
the
then,
best
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was already going a bit south. I'm seeing lots of protests in my vision too over controversial policies passed. Here we go. We are going to see woke rules and laws upturned, the Mexican wall built, and the removal of lots of illegal immigrants.
Okay.
Harvey Weinstein's also going to die.
Sorry. You caught me off guard there. That was not expected. I believe that one then. I mean, that's just so out of nowhere. Yeah. That's got to be true. It's going to
Well,
happen.
he predicts as a result of Harvey Weinstein's death, more celebrity scandals linked to P. Diddy are going to come out. So,
But I don't understand the connection there.
well, I think he's just saying like, yeah, I don't either. Is there a connection between P. Diddy and Harvey Weinstein? They're both bad people.
I mean, yeah, they've both done similarly bad things, but then, as in the nature of what they've done is similar, but they're not connected to each other. So why would the death of one have
There's
any?
probably a lot of celebrity overlap. They run
Sure.
in the same circles.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein dies, leaves a note, and the note says, "P Diddy did it," and everyone's like, "Oh."
Actually, do you know what? Speaking of predictions, speaking of genuine predictions, do you remember when I said for years? I've been saying for years that Diddy did it with the Tupac murder.
You have actually, yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, P. Diddy? You think P. Diddy did it? Yeah, yeah. It's looking pretty likely now, isn't it?
Well, the
Just
Tupac
saying.
connection.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He absolutely did it. I mean, the only additional evidence I have is that he's very clearly a bad man, and that's all come out.
Okay,
now.
I was wondering. Okay, I was like, have I missed something? Is there some crucial evidence that's come out to connect him to Tupac?
Well, yeah, they arrested someone for Tupac's murder, but he said that it was a hit put out from P. Diddy.
Oh, this was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I just want to say, I mean, I don't think he's ever going to get charged for Tupac's murder, but I'll never be properly vindicated. But
unless somebody,
I'm sure he did it.
Somebody in the audience, unless you know this already, in which case, please do contact us on X if you're still using X at JInterestingYT, or send us a comment on our YouTube videos, or contact us directly at contactjustinteresting@gmail.com. With all the times Alex said Diddy did it in the podcast, please let us know, and then we can make a compilation and put it out there for the world to see. Confirmation that Alex predicted Diddy did it.
You're asking people to go through 160 episodes of
oh no, sorry,
podcasts.
I was asking if anybody has a memory, who remembers, because we don't
okay.
We don't have that kind of memory.
Yeah, I can't remember. But I feel like I was saying it even on the channel that must not be named.
I think you were. Yeah. So there's some stuff that we'll never get back, sadly. But anyone with a great memory for when Alex said Diddy did it, please let us know when he said it, that Diddy did it. Whew, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
You're a regular psychic. Because you predicted something before as well that I made a YouTube short out of.
Well, I mean, again, and this,
Ukraine. You predicted Ukraine the year it happened. Yeah.
But again, and this is kind of like this guy Craig Hamilton Parker predicting Trump and Musk falling out when they already kind of are. Like, it's clear that that's happening. Like, that prediction was based on the US saying they are going to invade in February. So was it really a prediction?
I think it counts. I think you should take that. Take the win. All right. Any more from Craig Hamilton Parker?
A couple of things. In terms of world events, he says that tensions are going to continue between China and Taiwan. He believes the US will try to broker a deal between Ukraine and Russia, as well as Israel and Palestine, which could result in peace in the area. So
again, these aren't psychic predictions. These are just common sense.
Yeah. Okay. A big earthquake in Japan is also likely to cause a gas leak.
Does he specify the scale of the gas leak? Or is it just...
He does not. He does not. No.
Somebody's kitchen stove. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, if it's over a populated area, that's 100% going to happen. So he's just predicted an earthquake in Japan, which does happen fairly regularly, I think. So, yeah.
I mean, there could be
good job, Craig. Yeah, I mean, if there's a notable one, then yeah, I'll take that as a win. But good job, Craig.
Yeah.
So that was Craig. I've also got. Do you remember? Where is he?
Yeah.
We had one from. Where is it? Where's it gone? Oh no, I think I've lost it. Do you remember we had another guy that we spoke about in last year's episode, Salame or something?
Oh, Salome,
Um,
the Brazilian fella.
Salame.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
Brazilian
and there
Nostradamus,
was
I believe, actually, was is his
the
official
Brazilian
title.
Nostradamus, Athos Salame. So
Yeah.
I can't. Salame.
Yeah.
Yes.
Apologies to any of our
Um,
Brazilian viewers
oh my gosh,
and
yeah.
listeners.
Well, he's got some more predictions this year. These are
Ooh.
quite quick though. um, but yeah, there's he's not pulling any punches in 2025. I'm afraid it's pretty bleak.
Oh, no.
He says that humanity may lose control of technology in the coming year. He is especially concerned over, and get this, Robin, since it's already
Mhm.
come out, quantum computing technology,
Whoa.
stating that it could break global digital security systems. And he also predicts implantable chips will become increasingly popular in the new year.
Hmm.
Implantable chips, I'm guessing like microchips and not the kinds that you get with some battered fish. Um,
Oh, imagine implanting those. Oh,
yeah. um, but for some, this may mean easy health tracking and internet browsing. But for others, it means being constantly watched, or worse, being marked with the mark of the beast.
whoa.
Uh, so interpret that however you choose. As for future wars, which now seem kind of inevitable, Salome predicts that cyber weapons will be wielded on all sides, and that these weapons will be used to paralyze banking systems, power grids, and hospitals. He
Hmm.
also has something to say about UFOs, climate change, and increased resistance against governments worldwide.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah,
Oh, just
I'm not
generally,
sure what. That's just.
that's it. Oh,
I don't.
okay.
Not sure what.
Oh,
Yeah, it doesn't
yeah.
go into more detail on this article, but
Yeah.
um,
I mean, well,
interesting.
just to take him seriously for a moment, the cyber attacks thing actually, the trend is against that. So, whilst cyber attacks have been on the rise, and we didn't mention this actually, I should have mentioned this in the 2024 predictions. I believe
Hmm.
Nostradamus predicted there'd be cyber attacks. Um, uh,
Show me where he wrote that.
and there was a big step up in state-sponsored attacks from China against the big notable ones in Canada, I think, and the USA. A big one in the USA, wasn't it? It wasn't like the Library of Congress or something. And anyway, but there's quite a few. I was listening to a really interesting interview with somebody who specializes in global security and warfare, and the interview was about cyber warfare and said, "Oh, the interviewer was saying Russia to win Ukraine could attack the West and hack all the banks and everything." And this
Hmm.
this expert was saying, actually, that's very unlikely because it's even for the scale of state-sponsored hacking that Russia has, it's really hard to hack international banks like the Federal Reserve, and it's partly the reason it's hard is because a lot of that stuff isn't held digitally. It's still
Right.
in
Okay.
gold and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
they've got two problems. The first, the security for those organizations is really strong. And secondly, you can't, even if you could hack into it, there's not a huge amount you can do except affect the international trades that those banks deal with, which tend to be the kind of accounts that all the Russian oligarchs have their money in. So the motivation isn't really there to attack a lot of these big national infrastructure projects. According to this expert, of course, this is not my view,
Hmm.
because it's actually not much in it for Russia to do that. All they end up doing is harming themselves more than anybody. So there you go.
Sam the King 25 in the chat says, "Bring back bank robbery." And just like
Right.
don't you
Yeah.
hate all these cyber attacks and threats of hacking banks and stuff? Do it the old-fashioned way with a swag bag and a balaclava. Some things don't let the old ways die out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no, I
got that
appreciate that.
sentiment there.
Yeah.
Great. So is that all from our Brazilian friends?
That is indeed. Yeah, I think so. Yes. I can move on to Nostradamus, though, the OG man himself, if you fancy.
You know what? I'm being feeling selfish, and I might quickly move over to Baba Vanga for a moment. Give you a break,
Let's
Alex. Let you
let's
rest
hear
your
about Baba Vanga.
beautiful vocal cords, your dulcet tones, and move over to good old Bulgarian, I'm going to say. I always forget whether she's Bulgarian.
Bulgarian mystic, yeah.
The Bulgarian Nostradamus, Baba Vanga, who predicts for 2025, and this is short and sweet, a devastating war in Europe that will ravage the continent and claim countless lives. Separate from the Russia-Ukraine war.
Oh, it's separate. Oh,
yeah,
dear.
a different one. Yeah, so a new one is going to happen.
Across Europe?
Yeah.
Where do you think that could realistically take place?
I hate to be lazy, but Germany's government is having a tough time, and they're about to have some elections, and there's a prediction that the far right might do pretty well. So it could be our old friend Germany starting some trouble.
Maybe that would be like a great unifying thing for the rest of the world, though. Like if the OG bad guys actually come back.
Oh my gosh!
People suddenly put their differences aside and be like, oh my god, the actual Nazis are back. Do we really want to be on their side? Makes you take a look at yourself, Robin.
It does. It's true. This is true. I mean, I'm going to say it now. I actually kind of feel sorry if that's the case for Germany and the neo-Nazis, because there's no way they're going to be in the state of readiness and have the kind of military success that Hitler enjoyed at the beginning. Well, before the war began, because at the beginning he wasn't really fighting anybody. He just walked into the otherwise unarmed and terrified, economically weak and politically impotent neighboring European nations and just massively expanded with little resistance. And then I feel like now, though, if the neo-Nazis won and declared war, it would be like within a day, the entirety of the world's just like pummeling them, leaping on them, dogpile. I feel a bit sorry if that's the case.
How many times do we have to keep teaching you this lesson? Yeah. Oh, so okay, you're predicting. I mean, I think genuinely maybe the most realistic scenario might be some kind of like civil unrest, and if you can count that, not quite a civil war in any of these countries, but people are so politically divided across Europe. Maybe it would be more of an internal battle for the soul of a nation kind of thing.
Oh, that's good. I like that, because Poland, Germany, France, I want to say Denmark as well, but I could be wrong. There's been a rise of the far right in those countries. Obviously in Britain, the populist far right is on the ascendancy. Yeah, there could be a genuine struggle for the soul of the continent. Yeah.
Yeah. So, could be, but I think other than Russia and Ukraine, I actually kind of think that one's a bit unlikely, I'm going to say. But we'll see.
Cool.
We will see.
We'll see. I mean, I have faith in you, Alex. You've proven yourself so many times with these predictions that I think...
I'm just waiting for these fantastic publications, the Daily Express and the Metro and the Sun and the New York Post, to get in touch with me. I could be the next future Baba Vanga. Yeah, there you go.
In my eyes,
one can dream. Thank you, Robin. Thank you. Yeah.
So, any more predictions from Baba Vanga? Yes, but not many. Although, okay. Next couple are interesting, particularly because I think one of them was predicted last year, but it was alien contact will happen in 2025.
Okay. Well, we've seen a lot of those drones in the US.
Oh, hell, we have, haven't we? Still no explanation for those. Or have we actually had a...
I think it just kind of died down. Maybe people realized they were planes.
Just drones and planes, yeah.
Well, it's interesting, actually. So on our other channel that we have, Uncovered, you posted a video recently of when we were discussing the Fermi paradox.
Yeah.
And it was interesting looking at a lot of those comments. People were like, oh, they'll get in touch next week. Let me just see if I can find some of these.
You're right, actually. Yeah, there was...
Kevin Adamson 5768 commented saying they're arriving next week, and this was 1 month ago, so did they? But I remember this. I remember seeing online there was just a lot of talk happening that there was going to be some disclosure, or there was some kind of rumor that aliens were going to arrive on like a Thursday or a Wednesday or something. I didn't, and then it just nothing happened, I guess. But I think that's the way with a lot of these things.
Mm.
In fact, someone in this live stream, sorry, I'll have to scroll back in the chat to find who it was, but they said, "What about aliens? Will we see alien contact this year?" And I've got to say, like, anytime we predict that, it just doesn't happen.
No,
So
depressing.
it's one of those things that you always kind of want to happen, but
Mm.
yeah. Again,
Oh,
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here, but I reckon probably unlikely.
I like to entertain the notion that when these things happen, like you described in our video that went up on Uncovered, our second channel, about the Fermi paradox and why we haven't made contact with aliens yet. And there seems to be some kind of social movement about saying, oh, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And everyone seems to be onto something. I like to entertain the notion that the aliens do contact us, but they do it clandestinely through official channels, and it's all very hush-hush. And, you know, the ambassadors to Mars are already on their way for the next cycle of political negotiations with the Martians. I don't know. I haven't thought it that far through.
I like the thought that there's actually embassies currently on the planet for like other alien civilizations, but they have an embassy just in the capital, right next to McDonald's.
Why else? Why else do you think Elon Musk went into politics, Alex? Because he found out somebody's already got a base on Mars and he was pissed off about it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Wow.
In the chat, Microtech5871 says Alex Vanga in response to me being the next Baba Vanga.
Actually.
And God, that's good. Thank you. Yeah, I like that.
Wow.
Also, Jonah Isaac said, I saw 2 UFOs on Christmas Eve.
Whoa.
And I just have to ask, are you sure it wasn't one UFO, but with lots of reindeer pulling it? Because...
Nice one.
Anyway,
but also,
that was a low-hanging Christmas Eve joke. Yeah.
Tell us more.
Yeah, please do. Tell us more about them.
And then, nuts. Sorry, that was me clicking on the wrong thing and responding in live time to me clicking on the wrong thing.
That's absolutely fine. I've done that already, this one. The joys of live events.
Final prediction from Baba Vanga for 2025.
Okay.
Humans will perfect telepathy, leading to a major transformation in how people communicate with each other.
No, Robin, no. We've got to draw the line somewhere.
Wow, okay.
Telepathy.
I'm
the
skeptical.
The only thing I could think of is maybe some kind of neurochip allows people to chat in a kind of telepathy-like way. But what does that mean aside from that? Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it could be even vaguer than that. Maybe just like AI, something to do with AI. Does it? I don't know. What? Have you got an interpretation of this?
I hadn't thought of it that way, but you're right. Maybe when Baba Vanga was making these predictions in 1996, SMS was like telepathy. You know?
Yeah. So she's already been proven true.
Yeah, there you go. But we'll perfect it this year, Alex. That's the main thing. We'll perfect telepathy this year. So there's clearly issues with... I lose signal occasionally. Getting messages late. It clearly isn't perfect. So there's room to grow.
Maybe. And God, I'm very aware that he's coming up a lot in this episode.
Oh, no.
But maybe she was actually referring to Starlink. Maybe SpaceX's Elon Musk shield around the world with the internet, satellite internet. Maybe that will ensure, because that's got cellular connection now in their latest update that they're rolling out.
Oh, wow.
And there's going to be big advancements in that next year. So maybe she was referring to that. Of course she was. Yeah.
I think
she couldn't be more specific with it, but
no, give her some room. She's dead.
Yeah, sure.
I think though, quick question though, before we move on to our final psychic, which you will regale us with, Alex.
Sure.
If you could have telepathy, would you want it?
So being able to hear what other people think of you and you can speak to them.
Transmit your thoughts to them. And yeah.
Can you switch it off at will, or is it just on constantly?
It's a good question.
If I could switch it on at will, yeah, why not?
As in, switch off like Magneto's helmet as well, so other people can't read your thoughts.
Yeah, if I could I'd need to be able to switch it on, like do it willingly. If it was
Yes.
just involuntary and happening to me and everyone's thoughts were being shouted into my brain constantly, then
Yes.
no, that would be torture. That would be horrible. But yeah, no, that'd be cool. Freak people out, do the kind of Charles Xavier thing and just, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. In a world where no one else has that ability, I'd love it. But in a world where
Oh, were you saying like
if everybody
everyone
has
has this?
yeah.
Oh, no, then no. Let's just leave it as is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Let us know in the chat, by the way, if you could be telepathic or have telepathy. Well, let's go for a situation where no one else has it. Would you want it? And I'm going to go with uncontrolled. You just hear
It's
other people's
uncontrolled.
thoughts. You have to learn to filter it out. And you can plant thoughts in other people's heads or transmit your thoughts, which might give kind of subliminal messaging to other people. Yeah, let's go like that. So the perk is that you can read people's minds and you can plant thoughts into other people's minds, but the cost is that you can't switch off. Go in the chat. Tell us. Right.
Well, now that you phrased it that way, I'm interested now. The idea of being able to learn how to control that. As long as you don't drive yourself insane, literally insane, trying to learn to control it. It's a bit of a risk.
So the only disadvantage of that is that it's a skill you would spend a lot of time learning that no one would believe you had learned. Everyone's like, oh, you lazy bum. What are you doing today? Learning to control my telepathy. Yeah, right. Prove
But then you can say, but then you can tell, like, say what they just thought. If you can decipher it amongst all the others swirling around your head.
Yeah, you could.
You could prove it instantly.
You'd have to be careful with to whom you revealed it, though, right? Like a superhero, you have to be selective. Just tell it to every girlfriend you have. That's what I've learned from Superman. Reveal your identity to whoever you're dating.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, Robin, shall we move on to the OG man himself, Nostradamus,
yes,
and his
please. I've been
predictions
waiting
for
for this moment.
2025? So, a bit of positive news from Nostradamus.
Oh.
And this is one that I actually mentioned earlier. But, maybe there could be a potential end to the Ukraine conflict in 2025. He predicts that financial ruin and the exhausted resources could spell the end of an ongoing armed conflict, which many assume is a reference to the current war between Russia and Ukraine. He writes, through long war, all the army exhausted so that they do not find money for the soldiers. Instead of gold or silver, they will come to coin leather, garlic brass, and the crescent sign of the moon. And the mention of Gallic brass and the crescent sign of the moon suggests intervention from perhaps the French and or Turkish, and both nations have supported Ukraine and could potentially play a part in brokering peace. They've been involved in the kind of ongoing discussions and brokering talks at the moment. So possibly that could be a legit prediction.
I think that sounds perfectly plausible, yeah. But like you say,
however,
there's going to be catches. Oh, is he already forecast them?
Well, he hasn't said anything about, like, he can't be specific in terms of, he just says there may be peace, in Russia, Ukraine.
I see.
Well, he doesn't even go that specific, but what kind of peace, we don't know. But a little bit closer to home, things are not very good, I'm afraid, Robin. He says that England will be beset by cruel wars and will face an ancient plague that will be worse than enemies. And this prediction is for plague and potentially more war in England.
Okay.
It could also infer that some people have suggested this suggests infighting between members of the royal family. So it's not England; it's as a whole, but just the royals. So, but it also does suggest that perhaps there's going to be another outbreak of an illness worse than enemies. So, a new plague could be on the horizon. Sadly.
I mean, that's just depressing.
Well, there was something that happened the other day, wasn't there? There was another out. There have been a few outbreaks and stories in recent
Mm.
weeks in like China and some parts of Africa of like mystery illnesses. So hopefully not, because I think that would. Oh my God, can you imagine if it happens again?
Wasn't there a
Oh,
bird flu warning the other week? I feel
there
like
was a bird flu
that
warning.
came
Yeah,
through. Yeah.
yeah,
Ay, ay,
but
ay.
we shall see. He has also predicted that in the dark days to come, the trajectory of a gigantic asteroid with the handle Harbinger of Fate will get dangerously close to colliding with Earth. From the cosmos, a fireball will rise, a harbinger of fate, the world pleads. Science and fate in a cosmic dance, the fate of the Earth, a second chance.
Mm.
Ooh.
Nice.
Um, so who knows? Asteroid impact or just another near miss?
Didn't I have two instinctive reactions to this. First is that
Yep.
didn't last year he predict that there would be
Oh, move on.
asteroid?
Move on.
So
Move on.
okay, right, okay. So
No, you're
second
you're you're definitely right.
second aspect of this is isn't ultimately this prediction saying nothing will happen? That says an asteroid won't hit Earth. Is the fundamental message from this prediction, or is it just me? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, how do you even know if that's true? Like,
Yeah.
unless you spot it. Surely that's happening every day.
The rising
Um,
fireball.
do you know what? Actually, I
Hmm.
read an article the other day that says that there is an asteroid approaching Earth,
Hmm.
but it's due to hit, or that well, it might hit Earth in like 2046 or yeah, 20. It was 20 years away, so 2045, 2046. But there was a 1 in 500 chance that it could hit Earth. And that's kind of
Ooh, that's a lot,
scary
actually.
odds, to be fair.
Yeah, that's high.
Um,
Yeah.
but in fairness, I think it was only 50 meters in diameter, so it would land and it would could possibly do some pretty big damage, like a Tunguska event type
Yeah.
event.
Yeah,
But
that's big enough.
yeah, but it wouldn't be like world ending. It's not the dinosaurs.
Yet. Who
So
knows? The chain
maybe
reaction
maybe he
could
was
kill.
referring to that.
Maybe. In which
He
case,
was 20
Shortcut
years
will
off
win.
though. um, so a couple more. The last one's a doozy, so hold on for that.
Ooh.
Um, he predicts there's going to be a natural disaster in Brazil, saying, "Garden of the world near the new city, in the path of the hollow mountains, it will be seized and plunged into the tub, forced to drink waters poisoned by sulfur."
Whoa.
So the Garden of the World, obviously home of the Amazon rainforest,
I guess.
um, plunging into a tub and sipping sulfur, maybe flooding and volcanic activity.
It sounds like a volcano's involved. Yeah.
Mm. So
Yeah.
we'll
Give
just
it
have to wait for that. I don't know.
the
Are
new
there
city.
volcanoes in? Are there
I don't
volcanoes
know. Yeah. I've never
in
heard of there
Brazil?
being, but there may be. I mean, there's mountains, presumably. Well, I suppose there could have been. I don't know, Alex. This is a good question. Anyone who knows
Mm.
geography, let us know. Are there volcanoes dormant in Brazil, and might they become active again, particularly if the new city, whatever that is, Brasilia, uh, triggers something by
Mm.
man delved too greedily and too deep or whatever? Let us know.
And here you go. One of the most apocalyptic. This one's great. He predicts a rise of an aquatic empire.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep. There you go. There's a water power coming in 2025. He missed Avatar: A Way of Water or whatever it was by
Uh,
like a year though. So
yeah. Wow. That's interesting because uh, I was thinking about this just this morning, and I hate to bring him up yet again.
go on.
So, anyone who's listened to the podcast for some time will remember that I'm a big fan of H.P. Lovecraft. And one of H.P. Lovecraft's big things was
Mm.
about the denizens of the deep, the big underwater civilization of fish people who want to colonize the land. And I look at Elon Musk and I just see a fish person every time I look at that stupid face of his. And, with the downturned lips and the big goggly eyes. And I hate to take the mickey out of someone's physical appearance. Sorry. It's wrong of me to do that, particularly me, of all people. There are many problems with my face. But Elon Musk looks like a fish man, was the thought that occurred to me
Tell us how you really feel, Robin.
just a couple of years
I mean,
hours ago.
there are plenty of things to criticize the man over, but you can't I feel like you can't just say, "Oh, he looks like a
Well, I
fish
wasn't going to
person."
mention it, but then you talk about an aquatic empire, and I'm like, is it Elon Musk again?
That was the first thought that came
Is
to
that
mind.
what's happening? He's
They-
all this activity, the goal, the end game, as it were, of all of his random activity is to clear the way for his fish fellows to rise.
Why would he be doing that and trying to go to Mars, though, Robin?
It's a bluff.
There's no water on Mars.
It's
It's a bluff.
all a
Oh,
bluff.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Or he wants
anyway,
to get humans to
Nostrad-
Mars to make room for the fish people. That was plan A, but it's not going fast enough because we're polluting the water so much, they need to get out now. So he's
Right, I
trying
see.
to stoke divisions, far-right tensions, civil war in Europe and America,
Hmm.
depopulate, fish people walk in.
Or
Yeah.
another thought, maybe it has nothing to do with him, and this prediction is actually for like a tsunami.
Oh.
Maybe.
That was a
Why would
reasonable-
he describe it as an aquatic empire, though? But, water coming onto the land.
Yeah, could be. Yeah,
Or
he
it
speaks
could-
in metaphors, doesn't he? So yeah, could be.
Or it could be
that.
Atlantis. Atlantis is
I mean,
going
that
to
seems
reveal
more
itself
likely.
and announce. Yeah.
Oh, imagine though if it was Atlantis. I got, as I mentioned in the last episode, or did I mention it in the last episode? I got Aquaman 2 on Blu-ray for Christmas. Did I tell you?
You did mention
did
that.
mention
Yeah.
it.
I don't
Okay.
know if you mentioned it in the podcast or just we were talking, but
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah.
So that was my Christmas present.
Nice.
And imagine if it was, if we were I think the world would happily be conquered by a Jason Momoa type bro king from Milo. That's just
I mean,
my
maybe it's
personal
just maybe the prediction is actually just going to be this is going to be a great year for Jason Momoa.
feeling. I mean, yeah.
He's
That-
just going to
that's true.
star in a lot of roles. That's all the prediction was. It's not going to be an actual rise of aquatic empire. It's just a statement about Jason Momoa's personal career.
Or what if Nostradamus' entire shtick, as it were, was
Yeah.
actually fever dream visions of the most popular movies from the 90s through to the 2020s. So he just saw flashes of Armageddon. and-
literally Armageddon starring Bruce Willis.
Yeah, literally that movie. And then Avatar: The Way of Water and the Aquaman films. And he's just like, oh my gosh, the future. This is what's going to happen. So actually, that explains a lot, I think.
That's not. Do you know what? That's actually not a bad idea. Yeah, they flash forward in time in their visions, and they can only see what they can see. And every single time they do, they just happen to be in like an Odeon cinema watching a film that's just come out.
Because how could you tell? Because it's the future, right? So the fact that everyone's dressed weirdly and looks weird is like, that's just what they look like in the future. I can't tell the difference
Yeah.
between a fantasy movie and what could be the real future. James Linton
I like
95 points out in the chat, Waterworld also.
And
90s
Waterworld, yeah.
classic, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a good theory. I like it. I like that a lot, Robin. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kind of discredits all of the great work of these mystics, though. But hey, whatever.
If anything, I think it doesn't discredit them. It gives him legitimacy.
But it just means that you can't really take any of his work seriously at all because he could just be talking about
Your favorite movie.
the Avengers.
Next year, Nostradamus foretells A German takeover of Nakatomi Tower. Anyway.
But anyway, I feel like we've been doing all the talking, and it's really rude. Martin, what do you think of all this? Oh, I think his microphone's still not
Yeah,
working.
still not
Oh, it's
working.
okay.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
shame.
never mind.
That's a shame. But
Yeah.
yeah, no
Thanks for
worries.
listening, Martin. It was good to have you here. It's always a pleasure. In the
Yeah.
chat,
He-
by the way, we've had a live poll going, and despite our revelation about Nostradamus at the end there, the poll question was, do you prefer Nostradamus or Baba Vanga? And it's a decisive win for Nostradamus, 59% to 41%.
Oh, maybe next year. Maybe next year, Baba Vanga.
Your time to shine. Yeah.
You'll get there in the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great though. Robin, did you have any favorite comments from the past week? Unless you had any more to discuss, did you want to have any more psychics predictions?
No, that was it. Yeah, let's move on to comments from recent episodes. And there was one, and I wonder if maybe we should save this perhaps for a little more interesting episode for our Patreon subscribers and YouTube members. From Aidan Benno, who says, "Why do you guys hate on Elon Musk so much recently?" And it's a reasonable question, but maybe we don't have time to respond to it right now. So anyone from
I
you?
mean, I would say to briefly summarize, Elon Musk used to years ago be a kind of like wannabe Tony Stark. It was kind of cool, and now he's like a wannabe Palpatine, which is way less cool. That's my answer there.
Nice and succinct. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a comment from Microtech5871, who's actually in the chat and has referenced this as well. And they say, since Alex lost the last quiz of 2024, can we get him to do a Matt Berry New York City in early 2025? So so there you go, Microtech. Here you
You're
go. You really are the most devious bastard in New York City. There you go, Microtech.
That's precious. So precious. Genuinely, Alex, you're spot on Matt Berry impression. I love it. So good.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you. Yeah.
So good.
Oh,
I do have a comment from our latest uncovered video, which is about the mysterious death of Hitler's niece. Little video essay by me looking at a pretty tragic mystery, and one of those interesting questions where the question is, who killed Adolf Hitler's niece? Who? You might think you know the answer.
Anyway. There was a bad man in the family, but I won't say who.
Well, user, subscriber, follower 170717101, tricky name to say, commented and said, I miss videos like this. I used to fall asleep listening to the lovely robot Robin, and it would take me a week to finish a video. Thank you. And amazing that you've been
calling you a robot with that username.
So long. Yeah, I know.
Binary.
Yeah, a little bit rich. Yeah. But no, I just thought
that's really nice, though.
It's a very nice comment, even though it's also kind of a backhanded compliment, because those videos were never really more than 10 to 12 minutes. In fact, they took a week to finish it. I'm like, they must have been very tired when they started listening every time.
Oh yeah. But you just have such a soothing voice, Robin. So I think we need to take that as a compliment. We often get that on the podcast where it's like, oh, I love falling asleep to these podcasts. You got to just take it as a compliment, even though part of you is like, well, are you not entertained?
Yeah. That would put a different spin on that gladiator moment.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe, like, are you not entertained? Cut to the crowd.
Seriously? Are you genuinely not entertained?
You were just asleep. Come on, guys. I just killed 10 people right in front of you. Anyway, thank you all for joining us for this premiere episode of the podcast of 2025, looking at predictions for the year 2025. How many of them will come true based on last year's rate? Potentially quite a few, but also probably not the most interesting ones, which in this case, given how depressing some of them are, might be a good thing. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thank you so much for your support, especially to all of our YouTube members and Patreon supporters. And please do chime in either in the chat below on YouTube or in the comments on an audio platform like Spotify, or by contacting us on what used to be Twitter at JInterestingYT, or by sending us an email directly with your thoughts and your predictions for the future. And we'll see you, I guess, next time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.